Legacy of Justice 001. Superman, Man of Broken Tomorrows. Chapter 3. What's the matter, Clark? I floated there in the middle of a random field, the wind gently blowing through my hair. Lois stomped through the field as she looked up to me, covering her eyes from the light gleaming off the setting sun. "Clark, what happened?" Lois called out to me. I floated back down to the ground and let out a heavy sigh. She cupped my face with a warm, gentle hand. "Come on, talk to me," she whispered. I then told her about my interesting and painful conversation I had earlier that day. I sat there on the rooftop of this cafe. Opposite me was the long-thought-dead Jimmy Olsen, my best friend. "So, Clark, can I order you anything?" Jimmy asked me. I couldn't form words, I just shook my head. "What's the matter, Clark? Zod got your tongue?" Jimmy asked with a half-witty, half-sadistic smile. How are you here?" I managed to ask. "I came back, Clark. It's just that simple. I died, I was dead for a while, and bang! Here I am, and I'm making up for lost time," Jimmy stated. "But how are you alive?" I asked him. "I wish I knew the answer to that one, Clark, I really do." Jimmy nodded as he sipped his drink. I did not know how to respond. "So, how is Lois?" Jimmy asked, like we were still best friends. She's good. She's still a reporter, and she's a fantastic mother," I replied. "Ah, yeah, little Johnny boy. How is the scamp?" Jimmy grinned. His ginger hair danced in the sunlight. "He is doing well," I replied. Okay, let us cut to the chase, shall we? I'm here for a little R&R, and then I'm going to ruin your life. Your life and every life of every single person in Metropolis. And then, whilst you lay there dying and your city burns, I'll burn your farm. And then I'll burn your house down. And I'll make sure Lois is trapped inside. So she burns with your family home, and as your boy cries over the loss of literally everything he's ever known, I'll ram my hand through his chest," Jimmy said with a grin. Jimmy, what?" I muttered. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I couldn't form the words. I couldn't believe anything that Jimmy said. I was confused, upset, and kind of scared. Then my Superman mind sent my thoughts spiraling out of control. "I won't let you, Jimmy. I will stop you," I told him in a serious tone. "Ha! Ha ha! Ha! Please, Kent. You love me too much," Jimmy chuckled. "How will you do it, huh? I have you right here, right now. I can stop you," I told him. My eyes started glowing red. Jimmy picked up a knife from the table that separated us, and then he brought it down quickly and rammed it into his own hand. And it did not penetrate his skin. The blade of the knife crumpled like it was a piece of paper. I looked at him in shock. I then looked at his eyes, and his eyes started glowing pure blue. He then stood, looked at the ground, and his eyes burst with 2 heat vision beams, unlike my own, unlike Kryptonians. It was blue instead of red, and it was directed, and it hit the floor, dragging the beams up. He sliced the roof cleanly in half. Everyone around us started to panic, and my instincts took over. I jumped off the ledge, and within a quick microsecond, I switched to my Superman suit. I floated up and bolted towards the roof once again. The floor was now ablaze, the roof was unable to stand the attack, and it started to crumble, and it caved in on itself. I swooped down and inhaled hard, and I flew in with it, as I released a chilling breath which diminished the flames. As the ground caved in, I flew through the stumbling roof, dodging and weaving past the concrete. I then stopped, and I grabbed a hold of a massive piece that I possibly could. I then moved quickly, and I held the piece of roof, allowing everyone to land on it, making sure I collected all of them. It almost felt like I was collecting pizza toppings for an oversized pizza. I then scanned the room below me with my X-ray vision to make sure that no one was around, making sure that everyone was safe. The last floor must have been used no more than a stepping stone to the roof. I then flew out of the building, sighing with relief that everyone was safe, and I lowered myself down to the road below, placing the gigantic slab of the roof down gently so everyone could get off in their own time. I then bolted up and landed on the edge of the building. I looked around and saw no sign of Jimmy, or whoever that was. I looked at Lois, who stood there with her reporter investigation expression dressed all over her face. "So Lex knows about Jimmy. who has powers that rival yours. He knows way more than he is letting on. But does Lex know that Jimmy has powers? Lois asked. I want to say no, but this is Lex. I shrugged. Okay, this is what we do. We do not worry about this. We talk about this. We research about this. I use my skills and contacts in my way, and you use your contacts with the League, and we ask favours, and we ask for help, and we always keep each other in the loop. I'm your wife, so no secrets here, Clark. And whilst this is all going on, we report the news, and you carry on being Superman, Lois demanded. I closed my eyes, and her hands cupped mine. I let out a sigh and nodded in response. Okay, I said. What about training me? A voice muttered behind us. John poked his head around his mother and looked at me with sad eyes. What did I say about using your powers to spy on our conversations? I snapped at him. But Dad, I can help. Come on. Bruce allows Damien to help. John whined. A tactic I have never fully agreed with. I muttered under my breath. Clark, he does have a point. You started this young, and you never had anyone to guide you. No one like you to guide you, Lois replied. I looked at my wife, and I agreed. She did have a point. I nodded at her, and she looked at John, as I had the thought that Jimmy had installed for Metropolis, and myself. Having someone around who could do half what I could do might come in handy for saving the rest of the world if I ever got too busy with Jimmy. Your power training will change tomorrow, I told my son. He looked up at me with glee in his eyes. Really? Changing how? John asked with wonder. Tomorrow, we start superhero training, I told him. John jumped into the air higher than the normal human could, and he roared out with a cheer. I looked over at my wife, who nodded at me. I then prepared myself to train my son, to continue being Superman, and to stop Jimmy by any means necessary.
What you have just listened to is a product created by the Three Ranger Bros Studio.
Hosted by three cosplaying fathers who
happen to be massive geeks of all sorts of fandoms.
They are Mark, the Red Cornish Ranger,
Cosplay Dude 637,
and Ty Tiger.
The studio covers different types of YouTube videos, TikToks, podcasts, and live streams.
If you wish to find out who cosplays who, the YouTube channel, the TikTok accounts, and the podcasts, and all of the other social media platforms,
please go to the 3rangerBroStudios.com.